You don't know me. You don't know this story. But right now, as you sit here scrolling or watching or just waiting for something to grip you, what I'm about to share feels like a secret you weren't supposed to uncover. Like you've just unlocked a file buried deep in the darkest corner of your own mind. A file so raw, so unsettling, that once you open it, you can never close it again. It's the kind of story that doesn't fit anywhere, too real to be fiction, too strange to be ignored, and yet, it's staring you in the face. You're about to witness something nobody else dared to ask, something the world tried to erase with silence. It starts with a call, an ordinary call on an ordinary day in a quiet suburb, the kind of neighborhood where nothing ever happens. A woman named Karen, who lives alone with her baby boy, calls 911 because her Wi-Fi is down. Yes, you heard that right. A call about internet trouble. But what happened next spiraled into something no one saw coming. You might think it's a story about fear, about misunderstanding, about how quickly things can escalate from small to catastrophic. But it's not just that. It's a story about something deeper, about what happens when reality cracks and something underneath it all slips through, whispering a truth no one wanted to hear. Imagine you are there, standing just outside Karen's door as the paramedics and police arrive. They come because Karen is frantic, convinced a man fixing her. Wi-Fi is not who he says he is. The man, Marcus, a calm, soft-spoken black technician, has done this kind of work 1,000 times. Yet today, something about him unsettles Karen so deeply that her fear morphs into something darker. But here's the part that no one expected. What the police find when they open the door is not a threat, not a crime scene, not even a broken router. It's something else, something impossible, something that shatters the very air around them. You hear the door creak open and silence falls, heavy and thick, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. Marcus is gone, just vanished. His tools lie scattered across the floor, the Wi-Fi box untouched. Karen's baby, a boy barely a year old, sits in his crib, whispering a name that no one else in the house has ever heard. A name not even Karen recognizes, spoken with a clarity and urgency that chills the blood. And then the phone, the one Karen used to call 911, crackles, and through the static comes the unmistakable voice of a woman long dead, whispering warnings no one alive can understand. You try to convince yourself this is just a story, a twisted urban legend, but you can feel it clawing at your mind. The way Karen's eyes dart around, haunted and hollow, like she's seen something no one else can. The way the officers exchange glances, their faces pale and drawn tight. The way the baby's tiny lips part to say that name again, over and over, like a key to a door no one dared open. And here's the truth you're not supposed to hear. This was not just a moment of fear or a simple misunderstanding. It was a fracture, a rip in the fabric of what you believe to be real. A moment where something old and forgotten crossed into the now, brushing against the fragile edges of sanity. The Wi-Fi technician? He was never meant to be there. The name, the baby whispers, it's a name tied to a darkness far older than the neighborhood or the city itself. The voice on the phone? It's a voice that has haunted families for generations, and now it's speaking through Karen's baby, through the technology we trust, turning our own homes into haunted vessels. You might be asking yourself, how can this be real? How can a simple call about Wi-Fi lead to a disappearance, a dead woman's voice on a phone, and a baby speaking in tongues of fear and mystery? That's exactly the question no one dared to ask, until now. And as you watch this unfold, remember, you are the only one seeing this. You are the witness. The others have closed their eyes, buried their memories, or fled in silence. But you, right here, right now, you have the key. And then, just when you think you might understand, just when the tension seems unbearable, just when you're ready to scream for answers that don't come, there's a knock at the door, quiet, deliberate. And from the other side, a voice, low and unmistakable, whispers your name, and everything changes. The knock comes again, quiet, almost polite. Your heart, stutters caught between disbelief and something darker. An instinct you can't name but that settles in your gut like ice water. You want to turn, to run, to shut your eyes and pretend none of this ever happened, but you don't. You can't. Because deep down, you know that voice, your name carried on a breath that shouldn't belong to anyone alive. You reach the door, with hands trembling, every step a war between what you hope is real and what you're afraid has been a trick on your mind. You press your ear against the wood, the faintest crackling in the silence, like an old radio struggling to find a signal. Then the voice again, barely a whisper. You're not supposed to be here. And suddenly, everything fractures further. The air warps, the light tilts, and for a moment, your own memories flicker like a corrupted file. You remember Karen's frantic eyes, Marcus vanishing into thin air, the baby repeating that impossible name, and then nothing. The scene blurs and shifts, like a film reel caught between frames, and you're left wondering if any of it ever happened. Was it all a waking nightmare, a collective hallucination, or is your mind unraveling, unspooling threads of trauma you never knew you had? Then you hear it, a glitch, subtle but unmistakable, from the recording you've been clutching like proof. A sharp crack, a digital hiccup that makes the voice distort, warp into something unrecognizable before snapping back. The words don't match your memory. The baby's name is different. The dead woman's voice. Gone. And in its place, something else. Static, then silence, then a faint, distorted whisper you swear says, "Remember who you are." You start to doubt yourself. Your memories feel like they're borrowed, patched together from someone else's. Dory, you question what's real and what's a trick of your own unraveling mind. Was Karen's terror genuine, or a projection of your own fears? Did Marcus really vanish, or did he slip through a crack in your perception? The boundaries blur, and paranoia creeps in like a cold fog you can't shake. Because if you're losing hold on the truth, what is left? And then, from the shadowed hallway behind you, a figure emerges. Soft footsteps that don't belong to anyone you've met before. She's tall, her eyes sharp but unreadable, her smile hesitant, as if she's weighing every word before it slips out. Her name is Evelyn, and she claims to have been here before the call, to have seen what you did, or at least what she thinks she saw. But the problem is, Evelyn's story shifts with every sentence. She speaks in riddles and contradictions, her voice a mix of warmth and coldness, as if she's both guiding you and guarding some secret you're not meant to know. She tells you about the truth behind what no one tells you, about hidden forces watching from the edges of your perception, about memories erased or altered to keep you compliant. She talks about what they don't want you to remember, and warns that your mind might be the battlefield itself, caught between something ancient and something clinical, something supernatural and something all too human. Yet, when you press her for answers, she deflects or disappears into silence, leaving you with nothing but more questions and an unsettling feeling that she might be as unreliable as your own fractured memories. The room feels smaller, closing in on you with every passing moment, weighed down by all the things left unsaid, the gaps in the story that stretch like wounds. You want to believe Evelyn, or at least understand her, but every word she utters twists the knife of doubt deeper into your psyche. You start to realize the real unsolved mystery isn't just what happened to Marcus, Karen, or the baby, but whether you're witnessing a supernatural event or the slow, creeping collapse of your own sanity. And as you stand there, caught in this tightening web of fear and uncertainty, you hear it again. The faintest whisper slipping beneath the noise, beneath Evelyn's half-truths, beneath your own scrambled thoughts. It's the same voice you heard on the phone, the one that called your name, but this time it's closer, it's inside your head, and it says one thing that chills you to the core you forgot, and with that, the silence shatters. For a long, aching moment, it feels like you might have the answers, like the tangled mess of voices. Vanished people and impossible names is finally starting to unravel before your eyes, revealing a hidden truth buried just beneath the surface. You trace back through the fractured memories, Comb through the glitching recordings. Piece together the fragments Evelyn left scattered like cryptic breadcrumbs. The patterns emerge. Old police reports, whispers of missing persons. An overlooked call in the dead of night years ago that eerily mirrors everything happening now. You start to believe you found the key. The locked door just cracked open enough to glimpse the whole room beyond. This was never about a disappearing Wi-Fi technician or a ghostly baby's voice, you tell yourself. It's about something else, something buried deep in the past, in a shadowed corner of Karen's old house, in a name that keeps surfacing over and over, spelled out in barely perceptible clues you almost missed. It's about a secret nobody wanted uncovered, a truth someone desperately tried to erase. You remember now, the story Karen's mother told once, barely audible over the hum of a distant television, about a boy who vanished from the same house, decades ago. No one ever talked about him, but the old neighbors did. They said he'd whispered names no one recognized, names that sounded like a prayer or a curse, just before disappearing without a trace. It's a memory glitch you never knew you had until now, like a file corrupted and then suddenly restored, raw and painful and impossibly vivid. You realize this isn't just a coincidence or a copycat mystery. It's the same pattern, looping through time, repeating like a warning you never received. The baby, the vanished man, the dead woman's voice. They're all echoes of that. Original fracture. A dark event folded into the walls of the house, stitched into the very air you breathe. This revelation feels like salvation. You're not crazy, they lied to you. The mystery is uncovered. But then just as you reach for the truth, the floor beneath you shifts. The memory falters. That name, the one you thought you understood, mutates in your mind, twisting into something else. The faces you trusted begin to slip, distorted by a subtle but relentless interference, like a radio caught between stations. The recordings you clung to, there's a second layer you never heard before. Hidden beneath the static, buried under the baby's whispered name and Karen's frantic voice, is something else. A low, almost imperceptible hum, a rhythm that syncs with your heartbeat and unsettles the core of your being. It's as if something has been listening all along, watching the story unfold, waiting patiently for you to dig too deep. And now it's awake. You try to steady yourself, but the room feels charged with a presence you can't name, one that presses against your mind like an unseen weight. It's not just a ghost or a lost soul. It's something more primal, something ancient and insidious that thrives in the spaces between memory and reality, the cracks in your own perception. You remember flashes of your childhood, moments that don't quite fit, the long nights when shadows seem to move just beyond your sight, voices whispering through the static on old radios, faces that blurred and twisted in your dreams. The unease you buried so deeply now rises, a wave of recognition and dread flooding through you like a warning you can't ignore. This isn't just Karen's story or Marcus's disappearance. It's yours too. And the force watching from the beginning is far closer than you ever imagined. As you piece this together, heart pounding, breath shallow, your eyes dart back to the recordings. A single frame on the video, something you overlooked, catches your eye. It's subtle, barely a flicker in the background, but it changes everything. A shadow, yes, but one that moves against the flow of the room, that watches, waits, and smiles. A smile that wasn't there before, a smile that knows you're watching. And then it vanishes. You realize with a sickening clarity that this entire story, everything you thought you saw, heard, and remembered, was never meant to be uncovered in this way. That from the very first moment, you've been drawn into a web carefully spun, a narrative crafted to keep you chasing shadows while something far darker slipped through the cracks. You're forced to rewind, to rewatch, to question everything you thought was real. Because the truth is not just hidden, it's alive, watching and waiting. And now, so are you. You weren't alone. That much you know now, and the unsettling truth twists deep in your gut as the realization settles like a shadow crawling across your skin. Others have been watching, silent watchers lurking just beyond the edges of this unraveling nightmare. threading their presence through the cracks you thought were only yours. They exist in the spaces between static and silence, weaving cryptic messages into the corners of your vision, the flicker of a symbol that blinks just long enough to register before it's gone, a sequence of numbers or letters hidden in the white noise of the recordings, shared in dreams too vivid to dismiss but too fragmented to fully grasp. And as the lines between watcher and watched blur, you feel the weight of a deeper force pressing in, something that's been pulling the strings from the start, shaping the memories you clutch so desperately, rewriting the story you think you own. These others, ghosts or conspirators, victims or agents you can't tell, are more than just observers. They're participants in a secret conversation that no one outside this strange network is meant to hear. Through fractured transmissions, glitching video clips, and veiled references in forums you never visited, their presence creeps into your waking life, fracturing your sense of identity until you wonder if the memories you claim as your own might be borrowed, manipulated, or erased. You were right all along, one message reads, scrawled in raw, hurried handwriting across a cracked screen capture of what looks like found footage from 20 years ago. Footage the government never released. Footage that hints at the first fracture in this pattern, long before Marcus, Karen, or even the vanished boy. It's a message, yes, but also a warning. The story you've been following is just one thread in a sprawling tapestry of control, surveillance, and hidden truth, where every recollection you hold dear has been questioned, every sense of self fractured by forces that know more about you than you know yourself. In your dreams, you see her, the observer, an almost spectral figure who moves silently between worlds, her eyes heavy with knowing, her voice barely a whisper when she finally speaks. They don't want you to remember, but you must, she says. We're all caught, but you must break free. Her warnings leave you trembling because she is the only one who sees everything clearly, the only one who offers a glimpse beyond the surface. But can she be trusted? Or is she another layer of deception? Another echo in this endless hall of mirrors? Every day the line between what's real and what's fabricated dissolves further. You catch yourself questioning your own reflection, wondering if the person staring back is truly you, or just a mask shaped by memories implanted or stolen. Are these shadows in your mind a symptom of trauma, or the silent manipulation of a force far more dangerous, one that erodes identity itself, reshaping what you think you know about your past, your present, and your future? You find yourself scanning rooms for hidden cameras, replaying conversations in your head, and deciphering symbols carved into objects you once thought insignificant. Signs that now seem to pulse with meaning, as if the world around you has been scripted by unseen. And just when you feel the weight becoming unbearable, a new piece falls into place, a grainy video uploaded in the dead of night, showing a room eerily familiar, its peeling wallpaper, the worn edges of a crib, a flickering lamp casting long shadows. The timestamp reads 20 years ago. The footage is raw, unfiltered, and beneath the silence the faint hum of a voice you never expected to hear. A voice that calls your name before the screen glitches and cuts to black. What the government never released, what everyone tried to bury, what you were never supposed to find. It's here now, bleeding through the cracks. And as you stare at that blank screen, heart pounding, you realize you are no longer just a spectator to this story. You are part of it, pulled deeper into a labyrinth where memory is both weapon and shield, identity a fragile construct threatened by forces intent on erasing everything you thought you knew. The observer's words echo once more. You must break free, but break free to what? What lies beyond the walls of this story, beyond the whispers and the vanished, beyond the secrets that slip through your fingers like smoke? The answer hangs just out of reach, heavy and electric, charging the air with a promise and a threat that nothing will ever be the same. And somewhere, in the flicker of a screen, in the whisper of static, in the space where the world warps and twists, the story waits for you to choose, to turn away, or to step further into the darkness. You stand at the edge of everything you thought you knew, the weight of the unseen pressing against your chest like a storm about to break. This is no longer a puzzle of vanished men or whispered names, no longer a chase for missing memories or hidden signals. The mystery has shifted, transformed into something far more intimate, far more terrifying. It's about why this happened, why these fractures in reality, these moments where time seemed to bend, where voices from the past crossed into the present. It's about what it means to be human, when the very ground beneath your mind trembles with questions you may never answer, when the truth you seek threatens to unravel the fragile identity you cling to. The observer's voice returns, softer. Now less a warning and more a confession. "It's never been about stopping the story," she whispers. "It's about understanding the story inside you, the one you buried deep, the one you told yourself to survive. And with that, the walls of the past come crashing down. You see her then, not as a distant figure, but as a mirror to your own soul, reflecting the pain you tried to hide, the lost moments, the unanswered calls, the silence that screamed louder than words. This is no longer an external haunting, but a reckoning with the ghosts inside you. You remember the day you lost someone you loved, the way their absence carved a hollow space in your heart, the quiet desperation to hold on to fragments of them, even if those fragments were distorted, corrupted, rewritten. The vanished boy, the dead woman's voice, Marcus's disappearance, all become reflections of your own fracture, echoes of grief and fear that have twisted into something almost unrecognizable. And now, faced with this truth, you realize the choice before you is brutal in its clarity. To let the truth destroy you, dismantle the very self that has survived through denial and silence, or to embrace it, to surrender to the pain, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to be whole again. Your breath catches as you confront the confession you never dared speak aloud, the secret you've carried alone, the unbearable loneliness that shaped this nightmare. You feel raw, exposed, vulnerable beyond words. And in that vulnerability, something shifts. The darkness isn't just around you, it's inside you. But so is the light. The choice is no longer about escaping the mystery, but facing what it reveals about the fragility and resilience of the human heart. And as the room tilts, as the edges of reality blur once more, you understand. This is no ending. It's a terrifying awakening, a beginning masked as an ending. The world you thought you lived in was a dream you didn't know you were trapped in, one woven from memory and fear, grief and hope, loss and love. And now, as you stand between the shadow and the light, you are both lost and found. The screen flickers, the static hums softly, and your voice, your true voice, whispers a line that will echo long after the silence falls. Some truths don't want to be found. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for stories you were never meant to hear. Until next time, remember, some truths don't want to be found.